Well, good morning, everybody. Lovely day today. And I have a little project that I have never done before. So this video might be a little uninformative, but informative because we're going to learn together. How's that? So what we are doing today, I'll flip this around in the shop. And I'm working on this old chainsaw. And it's a 028 AV Super. So it's a very old saw. I want to say it's probably 15 or 20 years old. It's a very good running saw, though. And what we have to do, though, is replace the bushings on it, the rubber bushings. So I have them here. And I can tell you what's going on with it. Let me set this phone up real quick. Excuse me. So I'll show you what's happening. I've already got this loose. I'm going to finish taking some of this off. We're going to have to take the saw apart to replace these bushings, apparently. And the video is going to serve two purposes. So if I don't remember how to put something back together, I can go back to the video and look it up. And we're just going to take this off and set it aside. Okay. So here's what's happening. The bushings are in here. And when I'm sawing, they'll pull out. You see how they just pull out? The boot is ripped. So that boot needs to be replaced. And I believe there's one in the back here, and there's one on each side here. I think that's it. I don't know. You see how loose that is? That shouldn't be like that. So we're going to try to fix some of that. Now, I don't know really exactly how to get into this saw. I've looked at some videos, and I can't find this exact model on the videos. And they were doing more than just replacing the bushings. They were going through the saw and they were like blowing it out and cleaning it out. And so I think I'm going to do some of that too. So not everything needs to be on the video. So right now I'm going to clean this up, blow it out, and then just kind of study the saw and find out what else needs to be taken apart to get to those bushings. This is the bushing kit. It was about $16 or so on Amazon. A guy said he would replace them for me for $100, and that sounded a little insane. So I don't think it's going to be that difficult. But we want to get a new bushing kit on the saw, and we're going to clean this up as we go. That's pretty clean in there, actually. It's not too bad. I'm going to blow this out. Okay, we'll set these screws in here so we know what they go to later. And let me blow some of this out here too. I did notice one thing here. This wire looks like a grounding wire is broken off from this screw, so we're going to have to fix that. That's not a hard fix, but we'll have to do that when we're putting it back together. It looks like there's a bushing here too that's in my kit. Kind of looks like this bushing. I don't know. See, we're learning together. I'm going to try to take apart as little as necessary. I think this will have to come out, this screw here, because the bushings, I know there's two here. I think there's one here, and then I think there's another one. It might be this one. It doesn't look too difficult. I say that, and then I get into something that might be very difficult. This is the one screw that has the broken wire on it. I think I'm going to have to get some more of these screws because there's one missing on this side. I can take one. We have a new Ace Hardware here in Tullahoma, so I can take it over there and match these screws up. But two screws in this shroud, that tells me that they go to this cover. And we'll set that aside. The saw is, it's a very good running saw. I'm really happy with it. Okay, that is one of the boots. Okay, that's one of them. I don't see anything wrong with it, but since we have a new one anyway, we might as well replace it. Looks like it's going to be this one right here. And it goes in like that. Kind of weird looking. But that's one of them. Yeah, that's an upper bushing mount. I didn't know how that went together up there. That's kind of cool. So we're going to replace this one with this one. But we're not going to put it back in just yet. Because I think we're going to have to take this whole thing apart. I see a boot inside, but I don't have that boot. So I'm not going to replace. I don't think it's a boot really. It looks like it goes into the carburetor. I don't have that. That's a separate kit. I'm not looking to replace that. That wire is going to have to be somehow. I have to cut this off and reattach it. Now I'm getting into the unknown here. Like, I wonder if this whole thing comes apart. I want to see what this side looks like. I think this is going to have to come off too. That's a bushing, that's a bushing, that's a bushing. So that's the other 3 bushings that are in here. And that's what I'm trying to replace. We'll match this up with one of these in here, because there are 3 different ones. Definitely not that one. Or that one. Those are the same, and I think those are the front bushings. I think it's going to be this one. Only one I have left. It looks like it. Looks a little different in size. Oh, this one's torn too, see it? I wonder if that little metal thing goes with it. I bet that pops out too. Yeah, it looks like it's part of the rubber, like it doesn't come out. It's kind of built in, and maybe they don't have that anymore and they just do this. It looks like there's screws here, and I take this out, but it might just pull right out. I got to keep all my screws because my bushings did not come with any extra screws. Well, that's really flimsy. Yeah, that has a metal washer too, and the new ones don't. So this boot is completely torn. I think the rest of it is in here, and that's this. And that screw will go in here. Woo, that's torn. That's pretty torn. I'll have to be careful with it. There's my main culprit. And this is the new bushing. I really think I gotta take the other one off first. So I want to put these in the right order here. Trying to keep things together so I don't get things crossed up. I think I have to take the other side off. Oops. I can work this out right now. Both of these front bushings are completely torn. That's crazy. Okay, so this will be a screw for another bushing. I'll go like that. Okay, I think this plug should just pull out. Maybe connected to that bushing. The old bushing, the other half of the old bushing. Let me see if I can come over. I'm going to pull this out. There we go. I've got a notch on it, so that'll be easier than ever. And then all you have to do is pop this bad boy out. There we go. That one's completely torn too. Wow, that's crazy. I think this will slide back in the hole. This has to go in. I need to get some kind of it's got to slide down in a tight space. I think I need to get a some Vaseline or lubricant to help slide that in there. Alright, I got some petroleum jelly. And I did see in a video where this is what the people were using to put the bushings back in. Okay, I need to give you a little update. I did get it in, the bushings. They were a little tricky. What I ended up having to do, I couldn't get them to go in this way, and other videos said to use the screws and pull the bushings down, but it was really hard to line it up with where it needed to go because the handle is like loosey-goosey and you can't see it all to line it up. I tried to feel my way and it just wasn't working out. So what I ended up doing is taking the bushings and I put a little Vaseline on the top and I ran them in from inside. And by running them in inside, the top is more pliable than the bottom. So the bottom of the bushing is like a hard rubber. If I could demonstrate kind of on an old one. Like this side is more pliable and this side, this one's cut off, but the other side is hard. So I couldn't get it past the rim that it needed to go in like this to lock it into the groove. So I decided to lube this side up. It's more pliable, see? And I pulled the bar out and I fed the bushings in from the inside. And then what I did was I did some turning and then I took these pliers here, these large pliers. And I'm just demonstrating out here. But I stuck the pliers in there and I was able to use the pliers to kind of push them up into the groove, what I think is backwards. I don't know if anybody else has installed bushings this way or not. I'd be interested to know because all the videos that I found, I don't think they did it that way. They put them in this way. They don't actually show it. They show the bushings almost seated into place and then they use the screw to push it, to pull it in the rest of the way. But I couldn't get the screws to line up, so I used the pliers against the housing like this and just pushed them up like that with the pliers, and it worked really well, actually. I don't know if I invented a new way to put these in or not. I don't know. So, yeah, that was interesting. So getting the bushings in was, it just took me a little while to figure out how to get them in, and then once I got them in, I was like, oh, well, that was easy. I should have done that the first time. But I spent about 45 minutes playing with these bushings, trying different ways, and I finally got them in. So you can, I don't know if you can see there in the video, but I got the screw in there. It's screwed in tight, and I got both sides in there, so now the handle's nice and firm. I'm shaking it. There's still another bushing to do, and that's this one right here, the rear bushing. But that doesn't look too difficult. In fact, and then there's one on the top we got to do too. We haven't done that one yet. So let me see here. That's this fat bushing here. And I think it pretty much works like the other one, except this one's going to have to go in from the top. But it's tapered, so that shouldn't be a problem. The other one's not tapered. Let me get this screw started in there a little more. Get the screw all the way set down in the rubber, because it's going to have to grab it. There's a space there. I might be able to pry that space closed. Yeah, it'll push closed. Okay. So I'm going to put a little Vaseline on this rubber boot around here. I'm just taking a little dab will do you and putting it around the bottom like so to give it a slippery, so it'll slide in better. You want to be sure that you're using a petroleum jelly that is not going to eat or be corrosive to the rubber bushing. Petroleum, just regular household petroleum jelly works, and it's safe to rubber. So that's important to note. Alright, so I'm going to push this in and see how this goes. It's the first time doing this side, so This has the notch that goes over here, that's right. So I had it in backwards. That's why I roll tape, in case I need to go back and look at it, I'll know exactly which one. This is my first time changing rubber mount bushings in a chainsaw. Two things, I like to save money, but I like to be able to fix things myself, and I'm not afraid to learn new things. And this saw is always going to be something you're going to work on, so the fact that I've taken it apart before, you know, if later on I need to change the magneto or wiring, or I've got to fix a ground plug wire, I saw that already. So at least I'll know kind of how to do it, or at least, you know, I'll have some idea. Before, I had no idea. I'd never taken a saw apart before. This is my first time ever. But usually these older saws are easier to work on. Looks like this piece just pushes in, and then the screw just flares it out so it doesn't come out. But the saw's starting to stiffen up quite a bit, and I'm anxious to see what it's going to feel like in my hands. Man, it's going to be like a brand new saw. So this would have been $100. The gentleman that I spoke to told me that it would cost $60 for the parts. It did not. It cost $16. So he was going to charge me like $45 just for the parts. Then labor. I guess he was charging me $40 for labor. So, of course, he might have been able to do this a lot faster than I did, but he may not have taken notice of that ground wire, and he certainly wouldn't have fixed it, or he would have offered to fix it and charged me money. So you all know how that works. So, and this one goes over here. Then put this back in. Oh, maybe I had it turned backwards. Maybe it goes down here. Yeah, that'll do it. Y'all probably yelling at me in the video. Oh, you got it upside down, you dummy. Turn it over. You're yelling at me and I can't hear you. Ooh, that feels good. I like that. Okay, we still got another one here. This upper bushing, which has a ground screw. Move this. This has a grounding cable that's broken. I have to figure out what to do with this grounding screw here. There's one more. Got a broken tab on it. The wire's almost apart. I wonder if I can't. I would cut that. Let me get this in place first. Let me see if I can get on the bottom thing first. Okay, get up on it a little bit. I'm not tighten it just yet. Okay, so I need to push down on this. There we go. Okay, I figure out what to do with this grounding wire here. Let's see how long it is first. It's like it's plenty long. I think I'll cut this off, this little hard piece, and just put the braided wire underneath the head of the screw. And if the solder ever cut off or shock me, then I know it's probably the grounding wire. We get a new grounding wire. I think I have to go into here, or put a new fastener on here, like solder one on there. But we're going to try to do a make-do fix here. Maybe I'll leave that little tip on there, because at least you're able to grab it and pull it. Let me try that. Plastic tube, I think it's just an air tube. Okay, I got it underneath that screw pretty good there. Let me tighten this one up. We're good to go. Scared over tighten too much. I'm gonna break something. Okay, I think we're good. Ooh, that's good and tight. Go ahead and, oh, we can't do that yet. Okay, I don't know that I ever had to take this off, but at least I was able to clean around in there anyway. So we'll put this side piece back on first. The screws are right here. Remember, this had to go around the spark plug before you could put the thing back on. And then we'll put I cleaned out the air filter too. This is the air filter, and I sprayed it out. Cleaned it up. I did not remove it. And that just comes off like that. Nice. Now I can push on it and it doesn't move. This used to go all the way down. This used to pop out, so you couldn't push down on the saw tip at all. Boy, that feels better. Holy goodness, it feels like a brand new saw. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is clean this up, blow this out, and then put the chain back on. And that's all there is to it. Oh, woo! I didn't know if I'd be able to do it or not. That's the first time I've ever taken a saw that far apart. Thank you for joining me, and hopefully if you learned something, you feel like that's something you can tackle yourself, hey, try it. All they can do is you can't mess it up. So worst case scenario, you just have to take it to a shop somewhere and they put it back together. But we got it fixed, and I'm really excited to get out there and saw those stumps down a little lower so we can start burning them or chipping at them, whichever one we're going to do. We started burning them. So we're doing it the free, easy way. We're going to check it out. And we're going to go look at some trees today to go see what can go in there. Because those Stairway to Heaven trees, they also create toxicity to the soil. So we got to find out if we're going to be able to put trees over there and that they'll live. So we have some questions for the lady at the nursery right around the corner. Well, thanks for joining me on this chainsaw DIY. I appreciate it. I learned a little bit as I was doing it. And hopefully you guys did too. We'll check you next time on the next adventure.